Greetings, Mindcrafters, and welcome to another fabulous discussion. Oh my God, is it gorgeous out here? Like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I love how the river makes marshmallows, see? Yeah, oh my God, just gorgeous in the winter. Winter's such a badass season, kind of allows the other ones to happen when she feels like it, you know what I mean? She's the dominator. All right, my name is Kimberly Quinn. It is my pleasure, my totally my God, pleasure to be in here in the woods, in the deep woods, pretty much, sort of, yeah, in the deep woods. Hopefully the bears are asleep. To just like talk about being inspired. Oh my God, and I'm so feeling it. Talk about being inspired because, see how those mittens are little flappy things so I can still use my, pointer finger for the button? Very practical. Okay, so inspired literally means in spirit. So before anybody hangs up on me, we are not talking about religion in any kind of way. Feel free to turn into that if you want to. We're talking about sort of knowing the connection though, because there's a connection between the creator of all things and creativity. Here's how we're going to start off though. In order to be inspired, in spirit, creative, and doing your thing and living on your purpose, and you may not know what your purpose is. I hear that sometimes. How do I find my purpose? Well, number one is you got to have time. You got to make the time, because inspiration cannot be forced or even planned for that matter. You got to be open to it and listen to, well, as Ober says, listen to the whispers. You've got to be open to it. So there takes, even if you're not as fortunate as I am to be in these deep woods here, you've got to find silence somehow, some way, wherever you are, because then it flows. And I have a couple of examples which I just was inspired with actually in the Jeep on the way over here. And one of them was, I was in these exact woods. Oh my gosh. I didn't even plan this. I swear I didn't. I was like right about here, headed right about over there, because we're having this big, huge powwow meeting at Champlain about the GAP program we ran. But anyway, that's not really the point. It was about the class, which before the YouTube channel called Mindcraft is a class. So way back when, that used to be positive psychology, and it's not exactly the same thing because it's amped up, but the whole point is the actual name, Mindcraft, as opposed to Mind with an E-craft, which is a game, a video game. I was like literally minutes from having to be on this virtual meeting, like minutes. I had to take little Giovanni is headed over there where my Jeep is, like hurry, 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 because I just didn't have it. And I was, no joke, inches from where I'm standing, like almost in the exact same spot, when all of a sudden it just like came to me. I know you can't make this stuff up. I'm like, Mindcraft, like it just came to me. Jumped in the Jeep, sped back home, got on my, thankfully was able to get on the internet because it's super sketchy where we live. And everybody was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm not being soapbox modest, or is that right? And they're soapbox braggy, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I really don't feel like I can take the credit for it because it just came into my head. I didn't force it, didn't plan it, didn't put any effort into it. So taking credit for it, I don't really feel like I can. It just kind of came into my head. And it has since, stuck. And this is how I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning again, and he was talking about the same thing, which is a much bigger level with his first book, which sold gazillions of copies, like millions and millions, and translated in all different languages and everything. He says he doesn't feel like he can take the credit for that. And I said, oh my God, I get it. Because on a lesser level, I'm comparing to the process, not the greatness of his work. When I wrote my first book, it was nudging me from the inside out. It was like, write me, write me, write me. And I had 4 kids, 5 and under, maybe 6 and under, 4 kids, 5 and under, let's just say, at that time. And I remember people saying, like, if you don't ever wait to write, 5 chapters, like, oh, I'm going to set Sunday aside. It does not work like that. I mean, you might get lucky and that happens. I don't believe in luck, but you might get, whatever, it might have that happen. But not usually. They say a page at a time and it starts to flow. And I'm telling you, I sat up in my kid's tree fort with a notebook, totally old school, and a pen. And it just started, it was like a faucet I could not shut off. Got to make the time, got to be a catcher's mitt. And here's the thing, I think it came from Sarah Von Bread, and I really hope this isn't another rehearsal, because I had one this morning when my battery went off. she talked about how, because inspiration in spirit, and she used, call that whatever you want to. For me, it's God. You can say creator of all things, higher power, source with a big S, whatever. She talked about, like, if you're that person who has always wanted to write a children's book or a novel, you wanted to build that car from the ground up, or you wanted to start a business or whatever like that. Here's the thing. She said, spirit's just like floating along. Like, here you go. You're going to be the next, more current Tommy DePaula, or Eric Carle, children's authors, right? Or author, your next Stephen King or whatever. I mean, obviously with your own spin. But here's the thing: if you're too busy, and you're just like a gerbil on crack, and your schedule is full, just like Sarah Von Brednick would say, and I think the book is, it's called Simple Abundance. She would say, Spirit's going to go on to the next person who's listening and willing to carry out the task of writing the next best-selling book, or the movie script, or it doesn't have to be a famous thing. It can be, just building that car, redecorating, a house, starting a business, whatever. Because it's only when we're receptive can we hear is the word, hear the inspiration. Can't force it, can't plan it. Does not work that way. It just doesn't. And then also, I get inspired. I'm literally inspired every day. And sometimes I'll go in with an idea in my head to teach. I always have like a bulletin, a basic plan, because there's obviously curriculum. Though often on the way in, I'll hear something on a podcast, or I'll just see something that comes in my head, and there I come out with a huge story, and like, there it goes with the inspiration. It's just so true. And then, so Wayne Dyer this morning is talking about a story with Mozart, who, as most people know, started writing symphonies, and he's like 8 years old. I think it was 8 or 9, not older. And so let's just go with 8. And he said, someone asked him once, he said, oh, I want to compose, I want to write, these big compositions and symphonies. And he said to the adult Mozart, what do I do? And Mozart said, why don't you start with some minuets or something? I'm not a music person, so, I love music, but I'm not that person that can discuss these, terms and stuff. Anyway, I think he said minuets. And then the guy said, well, you didn't start with minuets. And he said, I also didn't ask anybody how to do it. I love that, because Mozart just had it in him. He just had it in him, and inspired, and obviously your natural gifts and everything. So our authentic purpose, which brings, actually as a good example, the other thing, is the inspiration is very much related to our calling and what we're truly meant to do, because we are all unique, not to be cliche, but we're surrounded by them. Snowflakes, it's just so cool to even think of that analogy for me, because I love winter so much. But to also want somebody else's purpose doesn't work. To be inspired in the ways other people are inspired doesn't work, because it has to be your own unique inner voice speaking to be able to do it. It's just how it works. Remember, can't be forced, can't be planned. It just doesn't happen like that. You got to create the inspiration vacuum so it just flows. And then when it flows, my first book wrote itself. So did my second and third, really. Mostly the first one, I think, because it was my first one. Like a faucet I couldn't shut off. I don't feel like, similar to Wayne Dyer, even though not comparing greatness of work, just comparing the process, I get when he says it. You just can't even shut it off. It just was like needling me from the inside out, and it just really just flowed. So it also comes back to attention and intention, which look at little Giovanni, huh? Puppies. There he is. He's helping me out today. Attention and intention pretty much sum up life. What we attenuate to is what will be successful. My husband's been saying that forever, different context, but, well, similar context, I guess. But whether it's, you want to be a pro basketball player, whether you want to be an artist, whether you want to travel the world, whether it's your relationships, it's whatever. Being top dog as a CEO, whatever you put first is what's going to make it. And the thing is, if you want to be not just happy, but joyful, full of joy, we really want to listen to these whispers to guide us to what we're kind of meant to do, because therein lies the passion. And especially as a fast minder, those with the ADHD can't not do this. Like, I literally couldn't I wouldn't last it anywhere if it didn't fill me up and over the top. And it doesn't mean that there aren't times in life when you have to do that. I told you about my bartending job, which I brought joy to it, blah, 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 blah. But the whole point is, if you truthfully want to find your purpose and stay on it, you got to create some quiet. Even if you live in Manhattan on like the 70th floor, find a way to be silent and really, really listen to the inner, your inner voice, as far as what you are inspired to do, because that is the only way it's going to happen. Attention and intention. And then here's how it works. Oprah says this too, actually. But I'm just telling you because I felt it. There's no better feeling in the world than when your authentic self is just making it happen. When your personality is aligned with, you know, this internal voice, this divine voice, this divine connection, what we're supposed to be doing. When those two things line up, personality and divine connection, what we're supposed to be doing, oh my God, there's just no feeling like it. It's power in a good way. It's just power, and that leads to flow, which is the work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, right? Where when you're in that, doing your thing, like I'm flying around the classroom teaching, doing all my well-being stuff, engaged with people after TED Talks. So part of the fun of the TED Talks when I did the 2 of them was the after part, when people come up to you and just talk and share their personal stories. I was so charged up, just like with that recent Boston thing I did too. I feel like I could have run laps around DC. Oh my gosh, it's just so incredibly rewarding. So when you're really in flow, which inspiration leads to, there's no one else you'd rather be in that moment. You have no clue what time it is because the clock's just like going in circles. You could have, like 4 hours could have passed by. You don't even know. Kind of like if you're playing in a band in your garage and that's your thing. You open the door and it's dark. You're like, whoa, where'd that time go? This is how it all works and comes together. And the wild part about it is sometimes people kill themselves putting all this effort, and all this, effort into finding their purpose. And it's really the opposite. And I'm not a fan of lazy. This is not lazy. It's creating a vacuum. It's kind of like if you're putting an effort to be yourself, you're not being yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you just be. When you open the door for inspiration, like the catcher's mitt thing, it doesn't take effort. The only effort is in stepping out of the current to hear the voice. That's it. Other than that, it shouldn't take a lot of effort. It shouldn't take any effort. Just kind of sit back and then listen. And one thing leads to the other. And when you'll know you're really on your authentic, very inspired path when you start to hear your inner voice and the divine connection coming through other people. I cannot tell you how many times I've had this happen, where I'm kind of looking for a video idea, I'm looking for whatever change is going on in my life, and like one of my good friends will just spit something out, and I'll stand there going, oh my God, you just said exactly what just happened, actually. You just said exactly what I needed to hear. Or with all this YouTubing stuff I'm doing, that just happened like through people, and they just say stuff because inspiration comes from everywhere. In my classroom, in my Mindcraft classroom, I'll say things from, use things said by Mother Teresa, Maya Angelou, Will Smith, Jim Carrey, tons of randos who aren't quote unquote famous, because the inspiration is just all over the place. It's just crazy. Once you're open to it, you can't shut it off, and the universe will get out of your way. Like you just create here you go, you're off and running on a path just like that. That's how it works. Okay, that's it. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the gorgeous deep woods in northern Vermont. Have a mindful, very inspired day.